They came from the sky without warning, their ships blotting out the sun over every major city on Earth. They didn't send a message. They didn't ask for surrender. They simply arrived, silent, vast, unstoppable. For humanity, it was as if the myths of ancient gods had returned, this time riding on beams of light and hulls of alien metal. But these gods weren't here to offer salvation. They were here to take. The first wave of resistance didn't last an hour. Entire nations lost communication. Satellites fell from orbit in glittering trails of fire. Military installations went dark. The invaders, tall, insectoid, and wrapped in living armor, descended like a plague, disintegrating defenses with technology beyond comprehension. Every attack from Earth's side, whether missile, drone, or electromagnetic pulse, simply failed. The invaders didn't even bother to retaliate. They didn't need to. Humanity wasn't a threat. We were prey. But prey doesn't always behave the way you expect. In the ruins of London, a single squad of Royal Marines held out beneath Westminster, repurposing subway tunnels into bunkers. Their weapons were useless against the alien suits, but they had begun experimenting with shaped charges and thermite. One evening, during an alien patrol, a 19-year-old engineer named Craig Riggs planted a makeshift explosive inside the armor of a dead invader. When the next squad came to retrieve the body, Riggs' trap detonated, vaporizing 3 of them. That wasn't supposed to happen. In Beijing, remnants of the Chinese Red Army had begun harvesting alien corpses, breaking them down piece by piece. Try and understand. A young robotic specialist uploaded a bootleg AI into the neural interface of a disabled alien drone. The drone turned on its creators and uploaded terabytes of data before collapsing. Within hours, Chinese hackers distributed the code globally to the dark web. It wasn't much, but it was a start. In New York, gangs became militias. The police force was gone. The National Guard routed. But one Bronx crew, the kind that used to push narcotics and run guns, rigged alien power cells into old Humvees, turning them into EMP battering rams. They didn't fight the invaders head-on. They waited, lured patrols into ambushes, recovered wreckage, tinkered, learned. For the first time, humans stopped reacting and started evolving. The invaders had cataloged Earth as a Tier 7 planet. Primitive, fractious, and unable to mount any meaningful resistance. What they hadn't accounted for was something unique, something terrifying, something no other species in the galaxy had shown in 10,000 years of conquest. Humanity doesn't unite through order. We unite through chaos. It began slowly. A downed alien shuttle in Nairobi was retrofitted by local engineers into a makeshift atmospheric glider. A week later, a Chinese AI coded an interface to pilot it using a neural rig pulled from a gaming arcade in Seoul. 3 days after that, an ex-NASA technician, now hiding in Colorado, figured out how to link satellite remnants to the alien navigation software. The result? Earth's first hijacked alien ship. They named it the Sparrow. The Sparrow was crude, ugly, held together with welding seams and desperation. But it flew. And more importantly, it killed. It ambushed an alien frigate off the coast of Iceland and crashed straight into its reactor core. The resulting explosion was seen from space. For the first time, the invaders recorded a loss. They took notice. Command ships increased their patrols. Drones tripled in number. Civilian extermination escalated. The invaders didn't try diplomacy. They simply applied more force. That had always worked before. It didn't now. A signal went out from Earth. A call, not for help, but for revenge. A decentralized network of human survivors called the Mosaic began intercepting alien transmissions. Amateur linguists, gamers, cryptographers, and rogue AIs worked day and night to break the language barrier. They cracked it not with academic rigor, but with memes, sarcasm, and brute force code layered with human emotion. The alien language didn't stand a chance. Now we understood them, and we hated what we heard. To them, we weren't even considered sentient. Earth was a cleansing operation. They were here to prepare the planet for superior forms of life. Our children weren't spared. They were prioritized for extermination to avoid ideological contamination. This wasn't war. This was genocide. And humanity is very good at stopping genocides. From the depths of Siberia, a nuclear submarine, thought lost, surfaced and launched its last payload. Not at the aliens, at the stratosphere. The resulting EMP blinded every orbital sense the aliens had in one hemisphere. In that moment, 10 Sparrow-class ships launched from hidden bunkers in South America, flying straight into the belly of the enemy's orbital platform. They didn't return, but the platform burned. In the ashes of Mumbai, a blind girl coded a targeting algorithm that could predict alien movement patterns with terrifying accuracy. Her code spread like wildfire. Drones began falling from the sky. Alien vehicles were ambushed before they turned corners. Entire patrols were wiped out by people armed with scavenged weapons and a cheap laptop. In Berlin, a former concert violinist learned how to disrupt alien comms with sound. He built an array of speakers out of car parts and old amps and played a note that caused every invader in a 3-block radius to collapse, their suits writhing in agony. The signal became known as the death chord. Metal bands re-engineered it. Broadcast towers pulsed with it. Entire cities sang it before going to battle. The invaders made a critical error. They assumed we would break, that we would splinter, that our divisions, race, nation, language, would make us easy to conquer. Instead, those very differences became our strength. A Navajo code talker in Arizona partnered with a Ghanaian engineer to design stealth drones using local wildlife patterns. A Tokyo hacker married his code to Brazilian guerrilla tactics. A Ukrainian sniper used a modified alien scope to drop invaders from a mile out, and then taught kids online how to do the same. We weren't just fighting back. We were evolving faster than the invaders could process. Then came the Day of Fire. A coalition of humans, scientists, rebels, ex-military, and plain old civilians, united under a single mission, Operation Ashfall. The goal: hijack the enemy Central Command ship, which hovered above the Atlantic like a floating fortress. No one thought it would work. But humans had learned long ago that survival isn't about certainty. It's about audacity. A team of 50 launched from the coast of Ireland. Only 3 made it aboard the ship. They weren't elite soldiers. They weren't even trained operatives. They were a farm mechanic, a high school chemistry teacher, and a former bike courier. But they'd studied the ship's architecture for months. They knew where the vents led, where the reactors were, and how to destabilize the gravity core. They reached the heart of the ship. They didn't hesitate. When the ship fell, it didn't crash. It tore through the clouds in a column of molten light, impacting the ocean with force that registered on seismographs worldwide. A tidal wave ripped across the Atlantic. Thousands died, but billions lived. And invaders? They retreated,